So let's talk. I haven't hauled books for you guys in about a year, and I have acquired a good few throughout my time off of YouTube and throughout my time during quarantine. I haven't spent as much money or gotten as many books as I expected during quarantine because I'm kind of an emotional buyer with books, and so I'm surprised I didn't buy as many as I expected. But I do have a haul for you guys, and I have over 20 books to haul for you. So let's go ahead and get into the 20 plus books that I have acquired throughout quarantine and throughout almost the past year. So the first two books are by an author that I heard Chandler Ainsley on YouTube discuss. She really loves this author, and she just really hyped her up, and so I was feeling like I wanted some smut, some steamy romance, some things to kind of get my mind off of the world around us. So I decided to pick up two Penelope Douglas books. The first one I picked up is Misconduct by Penelope Douglas and Birthday Girl. And I have just been wanting to read Penelope Douglas because I hear so many great things about her, about like how great her smut is and how great her relationships are and her writing, and I've just been really excited to read her. So Misconduct is about a woman who is an ex-tennis player, now a teacher, and she teaches young students, and one of her students is having problems in the classroom. He's not paying attention, or he's just not doing what he's supposed to be doing in class, and so that requires a parent-teacher conference, and so his father decides to come in, and I think a steamy romance happens between the main character, who is the teacher, and the father during like this parent-teacher conference. So have no idea how I'm gonna feel about this. I think this sounds interesting. I don't read too many romances that kind of take place in the workplace or like develop in the workplace, but I'm curious about it, and I don't know, this cover just makes me laugh. So anyways, I'm excited to get to this one. I think it will go quickly because I also have Birthday Girl, which I picked up yesterday and finished in less than a day because I couldn't put it down. Her writing is very, very quick, and I just was like zooming through it, but you'll have to hear about my thoughts in my wrap up about this because I have some thoughts. This book is about a girl who is dating her boyfriend, and her boyfriend is kind of like a loser. He doesn't do what he's supposed to. He spends all of his money wrong, and they're young and don't really have much money to give away. So when they get kicked out of their old apartment, they have to move in with the boyfriend's father, and through the course of that, a relationship begins between the father and the boyfriend's girlfriend. That's all you need to know. I feel like this is an age gap romance, and it is definitely smutty. She knows how to write her smut scenes, I will tell you that. But yeah, I'll let you know about this in my wrap up, but I am definitely curious to get to her other books because this one was definitely intriguing. Not my favorite, but I'm still intrigued to continue with her books. Moving on, I wanted to read some more nonfiction, so I decided to pick up this memoir, which I have been hearing nothing but good things about, and it just looks absolutely amazing, and that is All Boys Aren't Blue by George M. Johnson. So this book is a memoir of George's life as he discusses his experiences as a queer black man in America, and I don't need to know much more than that to be totally intrigued and want to learn more about him. I think this one is going to be hard-hitting because being black and queer in America can be very difficult, and lots of horrible experiences can happen. So I'm really intrigued to get to this and get to hear his story and how he's come out to be such a great LGBTQIA+ activist, as well as just a really prominent figure for the activism of queer people and black people. So I'm really excited to get to this. This cover is gorgeous. I'm just really excited about this. I think it's going to be very kind of informative as I don't understand what it's like to be black nor queer. So I am really intrigued to get to know him and get to know his experiences and hopefully learn some things that I didn't know before. Next we have one that I feel like everyone has hauled recently or read, which I have been dying to get to this. I saw it on Scribd, but I was like, you know what, I need the physical copy because one, it's gorgeous, two, I like want to support this author, and that is Elizabeth Acevedo's Clap When You Land. I read Elizabeth Acevedo's The Poet X a couple of years ago, 2 years ago I think, when it came out, and absolutely devoured it. I loved it. I think her writing is absolutely beautiful. This book is told in verse, and it is about two sisters, one who lives in New York City and the other who lives in, I think, the Dominican Republic. They both are not aware of each other, but they both have the same father, and they are reunited when their father passes away. And so I think this is going to be discussing a lot of important things about family and togetherness, as well as grief. And I've just heard that it is absolutely gorgeous. I think her writing is just so fabulous. I think she does such a great job, and I hang on to every word that she writes. So I'm so excited to get to this. Next is another romance. Contemporary. I don't think it's too smutty, but like, I'll take some smut. I don't know, but I've heard so many great things about this, and the newest, I think it's like a companion novel, just came out for this. So I wanted to get to that as well, but I had to read this one first, and that is Get a Life, Chloe Brown by Talia Hibbert. I have heard everybody raving about this. Everyone is talking so much about how they love both of these characters, especially the romantic interest that Chloe Brown has in this. They've just been talking nonstop about it. So this book is about Chloe Brown, who has a chronic illness, and she wants to do a lot of things before she dies, you know, like just basic things like riding a motorcycle, going camping, you know, doing lots of things that people, you know, want to do in their lifetime. But she ends up meeting this guy named Redford, and he's like a painter. I think he's supposed to be like really romantic and sweet. They begin to form this relationship so that he can kind of teach her and help her out to do all of the things that she wants to do before she dies. And I think a romance stems from that. So I'm just super excited about this. It just sounds amazing. I've been seeing it everywhere, and I'm always down for like some really good romance. I can't wait to get to this one. I'm super excited I picked it up, and I just really hope that I absolutely devour it and love it, and I don't know, I think they're so cute. The next couple books I have acquired through Book of the Month over the past couple of months, and I have since canceled my subscription because of problematic things that Book of the Month has done in, I think it was last month. But anyways, I did pick these up before all of that transpired. But I decided to pick up On the Come Up by Angie Thomas. I read The Hate U Give, I think it was last year, year before, and I really loved it, and so I wanted to read another of Angie Thomas's books, and everyone's been talking about this book as well. This book is about a girl named Bree who wants to be a rapper, and her father, who was an underground rapper, passed away before he could kind of really make it big. So she has this longing to kind of represent her father and fill those shoes that he left behind. But one of her songs goes viral, but for apparently all the wrong reasons, and I don't know what that means exactly, but I'm really curious to read this and see and find out. But I just really love her writing. I think she does such a great job with her characters. I'm just super excited. This is a lot bigger than I was expecting, but I always really like a deep, long contemporary that is dealing with really important issues, and also like it just seems like it's her dream to be a rapper, and I just want her to become a rapper and make her dad proud, and I'm excited for her. I hope she gets it. The next book that I picked up is The Opposite of Always by Justin A. Reynolds. This book is about a guy named Jack and a girl named Kate, and they meet at a party, and they kind of really fall for each other. They really like each other. But it ends up that Kate dies, and so he is taken back to the moment when they first met, and I think he has to kind of figure out a way through like time travel to save her, so that they can continue their love and make the right choices. I love time travel stuff. I love like romances through time travel. I know people don't love that, but it just sounds so good to me, and I'm excited. It's really big too, and I just want to get into this because it just sounds sweet, but like also so heartfelt, and I just hope I love this one because I've heard a lot of people saying really great things about it, and it's just, I see it on my TBR all the time, and I'm like, I need to pick that up as soon as possible. The next book that I have is Well Met by Jen DeLuca. This book is about a girl living in a small town in Maryland, and she works at, I think, the Renaissance Fair or Festival, and she meets this guy who also works there, and they're like sworn enemies, but when they're like playing their roles, they're very like flirty and sweet, and so I think they like don't know how to like place their relationship or figure out like, do we like each other, do we not? I just think it's going to be enemies to lovers, which is one of my favorite tropes. I know a lot of people like that as well, and I've also seen a lot of people really enjoying this. I never considered working at a Renaissance festival, but maybe it would be fun, who knows. Next is one that I think is recently just come out, and this is One to Watch by Kate Stayman London. This book is about a girl named B, and she is a plus-size fashion blogger, and she loves to watch this show. I think it's like The Bachelor, but it ends up that she is called to be the main woman on the show, and so I think it's going to do a lot with kind of questioning what is really reality on those reality shows, but also making a point that you really don't see women who are plus sized, and so I think this is going to kind of critique that in a way, but also I think show her like getting to know herself and maybe falling in love. I'm not sure, but it just sounds really good. I'm not gonna lie, I have watched reality TV with like these romance shows, but I always do find myself critiquing like the choices and the people that they have on and how they all seem to fit in one little category. I hope this does a really good job at kind of critiquing that, but also hopefully she finds love within herself and finds love within someone else. I don't know. We're excited to see how it goes. The next book I picked up because I am constantly trying to read all of Kayla's favorite books because she just has so many interesting reading choices, and I have found that I really enjoy almost every single book that she recommends or is like one of her favorites. And I also saw Gabby from Gabby Reads love this book as well, and I was like, you know, if they both love it, I might love it. So that is Bunny by Mona Awad. This book is so weird sounding. It is about a girl who is in a master's program, or as a master's teacher? No, she's in a master's program, and she is around all of these other girls, and they all call each other Bunny, which is kind of strange, but that's just like literally what they call each other. They don't even, I don't think, use their own names. But I've heard this compared to like a crossover between The Craft and Heathers. It just sounds really strange but interesting because one day she is invited to kind of meet up with the girls that call themselves the bunnies, and she becomes, I guess, a bunny, and kind of, I think we're gonna see her as an outsider trying to fit in this weird group of people, these women, and I don't know what they do. I don't know too much about this. I picked it up because they loved it, and it just sounds weird enough to intrigue me, so we're gonna see how this one goes. I've already gotten 5 pages in, and I'm very curious to see what happens with this one. Next, I picked up another Riley Sagar book because I have, I think, all of his books now, and I've never read any of them. I used to have, I think I had Final Girls on my TBR a year ago or 2 years ago, and I never got to it. Like, I read half of it and I just didn't finish it, but I just know I'm gonna like him. I just haven't picked them up, and I'm not always in a thriller mood, so that's kind of why too. But this one just sounded so up my alley, and that is Home Before Dark by Riley Sagar. This is about a girl who, I think her parents used to live in this Victorian estate. The father wrote stories about what happened in that house, but when they pass, she goes to the house so that she can get it ready to be sold. I think all these eerie, creepy things happen while she's there, and it just sounds fun. I love horror books or like thriller books that happen to have like weird things going on in the house, like The Haunting of Hill House has that, one of my favorite shows, and I just really like when the house is kind of personified and has different secrets lying within it. I just love that. So I'm excited to get to this. It just looks so good, and I've heard a lot of people liking this. And I also think this is the book for August for the Literally Dead readathon, which is a readathon that Lala does every single month. It's a book club, not a readathon. Maybe that'll happen this month. I don't know. I've already talked about Gabby, but I went down a rabbit hole watching all of her videos lately, and I was just really intrigued by all of her recommendations, and I saw her talk about this horror book, and she absolutely loved it. I think it was in her top 10 of 2019, and so I was like, I'm gonna pick it up. And that is The Troop by Nick Cutter. I don't read horror, like I read, like, you know, the soft horror, like the horror thriller, and I love horror movies, so it's not that I'm too scared, I just don't know what to pick up. Stephen King is definitely on my list. I need to do that soon. But I have The Troop, and this is about a man who takes a troop of boys on this like hiking trip in the woods or on this mountain, and weird things start to happen. I don't know much more than that, but I feel like the way Gabby described it and the way she was so excited by it, and she said that there is like body horror in it. Not that I love that, but like I'm intrigued and I want to see how it goes, because I have seen a lot of disturbing movies. My boyfriend and I like to watch some horror movies that I will never get out of my head. I'm curious to see how this one does, if it keeps me up at night. I don't know. And maybe I'll recommend it to Patrick. Who knows? He might read it. Another recommendation from Gabby was What Lies Between Us by John Mars. This book is very, I can't tell by the description exactly what's going on, but it says that it's this girl named Nina and Maggie, and every other night they have dinner together, but when they're finished, Nina helps Maggie back to her room in the attic and into the heavy chain that keeps her there. I don't know what that means, but I'm obviously intrigued and very fascinated by that idea, and I just can't wait to get to this. I have been just really in the mood for some thrillers and some horror. I think I'm ready for Halloween. I think I'm ready for like October, because summer feels like it's been going on forever, and I feel like it'll bring me some happiness. So I'm excited to get to this one. Maybe I'll keep it for October, but maybe I'll read it soon. Another book that is perfect for October, but you could read it obviously any other time, and that is Mexican Gothic by Silvia Moreno Garcia. This is supposed to be a Mexican horror novel about a girl who, I think she goes to the Mexican countryside where her boyfriend is from, and her boyfriend's family is supposed to be really strange and have these secrets, and I think she's going to be kind of trapped in this house with him and his weird family, and it just sounds so good. It's also in the 1950s, which I love. I don't read very many books that take place in the 50s, so I'm really curious about this one. And it's super short, surprisingly. I know a lot of people have been talking about this. I think this is the book for the Crusty Book Club in October, which I'm also going to be participating in, so maybe I'll keep this for October so that I'm fresh and ready to go when Chanel does the book club. This series has been talked about a lot recently on BookTube. I never really saw much of it a couple of years ago when I think the first one came out, but I've heard a ton of it lately, and it just sounds absolutely amazing, and so I bought the bundle. So let me just show you the 3 books that I have. So I picked up the 5th season by N.K. Jemisin. This is obviously a winner in 2016. I had no idea it's that old, but I have not been reading fantasy lately, but everyone's been talking about this and saying such wonderful things, and also the author is Black, and I'm like, you don't see Black fantasy authors often, or at least they don't get talked about enough, and everyone's been raving about this one. So I picked this up, and I also got the next 2 because I just really feel like I'm gonna like it, and I think once I read the first one, I'm not gonna want to wait to get the other ones, so I picked them all up. I'm not even gonna pretend that I really know what this is about. I just know that I think this is in a world where it's kind of post-apocalyptic and the world is kind of dead, and her son is, I think, has passed away and her daughter is missing, and it causes this kind of vengeful nature within our main character, who wants to set out and do what she can to get her family back, I think. But I also still think it's fantasy, so I'm not sure. Maybe it's not fantasy. All I know is I'm so excited to have these on my shelf. They are, I think they're gorgeous, and I am just really excited to get to them. I haven't read fantasy in a while, but maybe this will be the first series that I pick up. Maybe I can read them all together in like a series of a video. Oh, that is, I'm making a lot of plans right there. Everyone's been talking about this one, and I feel like the reviews are kind of polarizing. So the next book that I picked up is The Princess Will Save You by Sarah Henning. I have never read anything by Sarah Henning before, but a lot of people have read, I think, her, I don't know if it's a series or a trilogy or if it's even just a standalone, but she wrote The Sea Witch, and I never read that, but maybe I will if I like this. This is supposed to be a Princess Bride retelling where I think the princess has to save her beloved somehow or another. I'm not positive just how. I think it's going to be kind of gender bent, where instead of Wesley from The Princess Bride saving her, she saves the guy, I don't know his name, Luca. Anyways, I hope I like it. I don't really know. I love The Princess Bride, so I'm hoping it does it kind of justice if it's going to say that it is a retelling or a reimagining of The Princess Bride, but we will see. I just need some badass women in my life, and I also think this might be a standalone, so this might be a good place to start with getting back into fantasy. Next book has been getting so much hype recently, and that is Girl Serpentthorne by Melissa Bashardouse. I think this one sounds so good. This is about a girl named Soraya who is, I think, poisonous to the touch, and so she's never really come outside, but when her, I think it's her brother's wedding approaches, she has to decide if she's going to like come out from the dungeon or if she's going to stay and hide. So I think it's about her dealing with being a princess but also feeling monstrous. It sounds really good and I've heard really great things, so I'm hoping that I love this and I can get to it soon. The next book that I picked up is The Starlight Sea by Erin Morgenstern. I have been wanting to read an Erin Morgenstern book for a long time. I have The Night Circus on my shelf and I just never get to it, but I really want to. It just sounds really great, and I know that it's a lot of people's favorite book. I was just really intrigued by this premise in general, and also the cover is gorgeous. This is about a guy named Zachary, and he hears about the Starlight Sea, and below the Starlight Sea there are like these tunnels that hold these doors that hold all of this information and books. And so his plan is to journey and find his key so that he can get into his door and get some knowledge, I think. Then he meets up with some other people, and I think it's gonna be one of these like really good cast of characters while they go on this journey to find the Starlight Sea and the tunnels and the information that they seek. And I also just love books that have books in them, or like there's an importance of like libraries and books and things like that. So I'm excited to get to this one. She's a bit big, but you know what? I'm hoping I can get to it soon. Maybe this is one that I can kind of read over the course of like a month or something and not have to read it all at once, because it may overwhelm me a little bit. The last book that I have on this haul is A Song of Wraiths and Ruin by Roseanne A. Brown. This is, I think, a Black folklore fantasy, and everyone has been talking about this. I have seen it absolutely everywhere. This is about a boy, I'm looking at the names because I keep forgetting, I have so many books. Malik, and he is at this festival where he wants to escape his war-stricken home, but his younger sister Nadia is taken, and so he strikes a deal to kill the crowned princess in exchange for his sister's freedom. And I just think it's gonna be really good. I don't know much more than that. I just think that it's going to maybe have some romance, maybe not, that's okay if it doesn't, but I just want to see some badass women, or some, you know, just badass people doing what they have to do for their siblings, but also like maybe the princess is like too cool to kill, and like she's just like, she deserves to live, and then they like run off together. I don't know, I'm making up fantasies in my head, I have no idea, but I want to get to this soon. Everyone's talking about it, and this cover, it blows me away. Like, I love this cover, it's so shiny, so I'm so excited to get to this. And I know this is one that is like on the tippy top of my TBR, because I just look at it every day and I'm like, why haven't I read you yet? So that is going to be it for my haul. I know I rambled a lot. I also am really bad with talking about synopses of books. I just get really excited, but I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, you guys can like the video and subscribe. I'll be having more videos coming out soon, and yeah, I hope you guys are staying safe and doing well, and I love you guys. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.